When I speak to basketball coaches about movement skill training, dynamic warmups, strength and conditioning, and these types of exercises, the most common concern or complaint from a high school coach or youth coach is the lack of time. So I don't have enough time to spend 15 minutes doing a dynamic warm up or to teach movement skills. To me, this is short-sighted. All right. One, because I think as a coach, our goal should be to do what's best for our players. And in the long term, trying to prevent some of these serious injuries is what's best for their long-term health. So, if a basketball player tears her ACL, she's more likely to have osteoarthritis at a younger age than if she had not torn her ACL. If you twist an ankle, you're more likely to twist an ankle again. If you twist an ankle, you're more at risk for a subsequent more serious injury such as an ACL tear. So these are things that are going to affect people in their lives once they finish playing basketball. So for me, that should be one responsibility of a basketball coach, is to do whatever possible to try to mitigate those risks. Beyond that, I believe that teaching movement skills, developing a dynamic warm-up, strength and conditioning, and these sort of things that can be used to reduce the number of injuries actually make a team more successful. Reason being, the best way to have success as a team is to have all of your players healthy. When you have a number of injuries to your team, it becomes much more difficult to win games. So if the best way to win games is to keep your players healthy, well, then time should be spent or invested into practices that will hopefully prevent injuries or reduce the number of injuries, or decrease the amount of time missed due to an injury. And so to me, this is the biggest reason why teams should be doing dynamic warm-ups. They should be doing strength and conditioning, movement skill training, etc. It's going to make your team more successful. And that doesn't even take into account the potential performance benefits that come with the strength and conditioning or the movement skill training, which obviously will enhance performance even more. I'm simply talking about keeping players on the court for more time. And so recently I saw a study from soccer, showed a correlation between injuries and team success. So the teams that finished at the top of the table had the fewest injuries. The teams that finished at the bottom of the table had the most injuries. So as Mladen Jovanovic pointed out in a blog that he wrote about this research article, we don't know why. There are many factors attributed. Okay, so maybe the teams finished at the top because they had fewer injuries, but maybe they had fewer injuries because they finished at the top, and therefore they, if we're always in first place, maybe our players feel less stress. Stress is known to have a correlation to injuries. So a team fighting, let's say at the relegation level, whether they're going to survive and stay at the top or whether they're going to be relegated to a lower level, maybe those players feel a lot more stress. Consequently, they suffer an injury. So we don't know which direction it goes, but there's definitely a correlation between success and keeping your players healthy, keeping your players playing. Another recent study showed that World Cup cross-country skiers, the ones who medaled were sick about 14 days a year. The ones who didn't medal were sick about 22 days a year. So at least 1.5 times more days of sickness per year. So that could show a number of things. One, the medalists may just be better athletes. They can handle their training better. They're better prepared. Maybe they train better. Maybe they train smarter. Maybe the ones who are sick more are overtraining for whatever reason, because overtraining is typically leads to sickness or illness or some form of injury. So again, many different factors, causes, relationships involved, and we don't know the answers. But we can feel fairly certain that if you can keep every player in your team healthy and injury-free, you're probably going to have a better season than if you have a lot of injuries and a lot of sickness.